We are getting ready for what's going to be a fantastic doubleheader here on ABC. Paige Bueckers getting off the bus as UConn is at NC State. That's our 3 o'clock game here on ABC. Speaking of Paige Bueckers, we saw her return. She said it wasn't even close to her best game, but at this point, she'll just take any game at all. Dre, what'd you see?
Well, here's the thing. I saw Paige Bueckers hit 8 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, so it's not like she was only out there looking to score the basketball. She was facilitating, she was rebounding. Here's the thing. She was 3 of 9 from the field, so she had 6 missed shots. 5 of them were short. Her conditioning will get better. 4 of them were with 17 or more seconds left on the shot clock. Her shot selection will get better. It is only up from here when it comes to Paige Bueckers.
UConn had 10 players in the scoring column this season opener. They only had that once last year. Here's your games that we've got coming up. I told you UConn, NC State, and over on ESPN. Coming up as our ABC doubleheader continues, Aaliyah Edwards getting ready for number 2 UConn at NC State. Dre, she's ready.
First of all, Aaliyah is my favorite name, in case anyone was wondering. And are you that somebody? That's the question.
Well
if you don't know the song, look it up.
AJ Nothing But a Number says the birthday girl. From this Aaliyah Edwards to an Aaliyah Boston watching her South Carolina team, we will see you after this game concludes. Courtney? Thank you, Courtney. We are back in the story, but we're about to head back out to Raleigh. Coming up, our women's basketball doubleheader continues. You see it. Number 2 UConn, that's AZ Fudd, finally healthy for the first time as a team in 2 years. They rolled in their opener against Dayton on Wednesday. Fudd with 13. We will head, no doubt the fans love to see it. You know what we love to see? Paige Bueckers back on a court. 3 minutes from now, we've got tip number 2 UConn at NC State. She said it wasn't a great game in her debut, just 8 points, but she's just trying to figure this thing out. She hasn't been fully healthy in the last couple of years, 584 days. What did you see? How would you assess it?
Well, I saw that it's only going to get better, right? She had 6 missed field goals. 5 of them were short. That in-game conditioning is going to take some time to come along. Paige Bueckers is going to be just fine.
Gino Auriemma said she's better now than when she won the National Player of the Year as a freshman. Unreal. We'll certainly see. Ryan Rucca and Rebecca Lobo will get us a tip.
All right, Drea, thank you very much. Here in Raleigh, North Carolina, you are watching the ACC on ESPN, getting ready for the number 2 team in the nation, the UConn Huskies, taking on the NC State Wolfpack. It is a lit-up atmosphere at Reynolds Coliseum as we welcome you courtside. Hey everybody, Ryan Rucco alongside the Hall of Famer Rebecca Lobo. So happy to be with you this Sunday afternoon on ABC. Rebecca, it has already been a scintillating start to this college basketball season.
It's less than a week old, and we've had high-scoring games, really well-played performances, hoping for another one here today.
And today we get to see one of the most talented players in the nation back on the floor, Paige Bueckers. It's been a really interesting 3 years for Paige. Was the first freshman to win AP Player of the Year 3 years ago. Then as a sophomore, missed a ton of time, still was able to help guide UConn into the national championship game. Last year missed the entire season with an ACL injury, but she is back, Rebecca.
Yeah, Paige Bueckers is a special talent, and she is finally back. Let's remind everyone of what she looked like when she was healthy on the floor, can do so many things. Put the ball on the deck, finish inside. She's phenomenal in the mid-range. This is from the national championship game a couple years ago. If you go behind the screen, forget about it. She's got range and deep range. Her favorite part of the game, getting her teammates involved. Gino Auriemma has just talked about how special she is. She's the complete package.
Take a look at what she did in her first game in 584 days. Paige has some talented teammates as well. For more on that, here's another Hall of Famer, Holly Rowe.
Well, Aaliyah Edwards is the player for UConn who has been holding it down on the floor for the last 3 years. She's the only returning starter who started every single game last season, and her impact on the court is huge. She led the team in scoring at 16 points a game for part of the season, 9 rebounds a game. But more important than that, she's efficient and effective around the basket. When I talked to her today, she said her goal for this season is to be hard to guard. She is expanding her range. She can be a handful, and she looks like she's in the best shape of her life. Look for Aaliyah Edwards to have a huge impact for this UConn team this season.
All right, meanwhile, for NC State, a whole lot of turnover from a season ago. They lost their top 4 scorers, had 8 newcomers, 2 transfers, 6 freshmen. They also have Isaiah James, who got off to an excellent start this season.
Yeah, she was absolutely spectacular in their first game against Charlotte. Showed scoring at all 3 levels, could hit the mid-range, drop long-range bombs from three, got out in transition, finished at the rim. She had 19 points in the first quarter alone.
That was a school record for most points in a quarter. Did it in the first quarter of the season, was 4 of 5 from three in that first quarter. So each team starting their seasons off with victories. A good test for UConn here at a rowdy Reynolds Coliseum. A sellout crowd, and you can already feel the buzz. This is a really fun arena to call games in.
It's phenomenal, and they have such a great student section as well.
For NC State, Team Westmore is excited about the connectivity, the chemistry of, knows there's going to be some growing pains, knows today will be a very tough test against the #2 team in the nation, the UConn Huskies. Pretty good when your point guard's jumping it up. Sanaya Rivers jumping up against Aaliyah Edwards, and it was Rivers who got her hand on it, but Beckers who controls.
You see NC State starting out in man-to-man. That's their bread and butter, what they will play primarily on the defensive end.
Here is Fudd connecting on a three. She had 32 last year against NC State.
Not only a three, a deep three.
Maisie Fudd and Paige Beckers hoping for a long run of action together on the floor. Something they have not had a lot of through their first few seasons.
Maisie Fudd is just a special shooter, and when she gets the ball, can't ever go behind a screen or a handoff when you're defending Maisie Fudd.
Just the 16th game, those two playing together. Fudd and Beckers. Shot clock down to 5. Good hedge there from Edwards. Nowhere to go for Rivers. Gives it up. Shot clock is going to expire.
Aaliyah Edwards is an outstanding perimeter defender, and you saw her hedge out and help. She has quick feet, she has long arms, and she can stay in front of a guard. Here, this is your 6'2" big. Look at her move her feet. Make sure the officials cannot call a foul until Maisie Fudd returns. That's outstanding defense by the big.
Take a look at the UConn starting 5. Nika Mule, back-to-back Defensive Players of the Year in the Big East, as Edwards showing off that mid-range touch. Ollie talking about everything Edwards could do on the floor to make an impact, and we see it defensively and offensively right away. A 5-0 start for Connecticut. Here's James curling into the paint and banking it home. That's a tough bucket from a fired-up Isaiah James. Right down the floor, Fudd misses the layup. Rebound, River Baldwin. River to reverse. Amy Collins can't squeeze it in, and Edwards the rebound.
Collins, though, has the size and strength advantage over Ducharme, who's playing the 4 position.
Here's Mule kicking it out. Fudd. Back iron, no. Look good again, though, from Maisie Fudd. Westmore was telling us just how quick her release was, especially in transition last year, and still having nightmares about it. Ducharme backdoor, Beckers extra feed, Edwards couldn't finish it. Rivers was there for the contest.
Yeah, Rivers saved what could have been an easy layup for Edwards.
Hayes gets it into James, can't get the leaner to drop, and Beckers the rebound. Connecticut looking to push. Here's Edwards. Swivels around, gets the whistle on Baldwin, and free throws for Edwards. Gino Auriemma leading Connecticut for the 39th season. 1,181 wins, 11 national championships, more than any other program in college basketball history. Westmore has done an outstanding job, a fixture now here at NC State. His 11th season, the 3-time ACC Coach of the Year. His team has been to 6 straight NCAA tournaments, dealing with a lot of change this season, though. These two teams, of course, had an epic meeting in the Elite Eight 2 years ago. A double overtime Connecticut win to send them to their 14th straight Final Four. Beckers coming up with a steal, gets it ahead to Newell. 3-on-2. Bud back to Beckers, thought about the three, did not take it. Now Beckers veers around Hayes and finishes, plus the foul. A chance for three for Paige Beckers.
Paige Beckers, over the course of the last 2 seasons, has added some strength to her frame, and she looks forward to driving into the paint here. You see her get the start, get the steal going the other way, finally gets the basketball back, but using that stronger frame to get inside the lane.
And Beckers completes the three-point play. Holly?
Well, Rebecca, you talk about her frame. Her high school coach used to call her olive oil. She reminded me of that today. She doesn't look like that anymore. She's more Popeye. She's added about 15 pounds to her frame. She said, I've never felt such confidence in my strength and my body. We'll give you more as the game goes on.
Especially coming back for injury, Holly, that's the most important piece, is being confident in yourself and your body and trusting it.
Beckers slings it out.
And how about that shot by Rivers?
Yeah. Ducharme, too strong. Edwards, the offensive rebound. Can't flip it in. Got her hands on another, but knocked away. Controlled by NC State. Here is Sanaya Rivers. Rivers tried to pull up that time, and Fudd knocks it out of bounds. It'll stay with the Wolfpack. Sanaya Rivers taking on a leadership role for NC State, now a junior. Spent 1 year at South Carolina, transferred to NC State last year, was the ACC 6th Player of the Year.
Her ceiling is just so incredibly high. Great athlete. Look at the size of her. She's got good size at 6'1". She's long. She talked about adjusting her shot a little bit. That's the next evolution for her, is to become a better three-point shooter.
Right. South Carolina, her freshman year, was just 1 of 31 from 3. Last year, improved, still not a good percentage, just 22%, but obviously big improvement from 1 for 31 and trying to build further on that this season. That's going to be a charge. Beckers takes the body, and James is whistled for the personal. Her first.
Paige Beckers here just in great help position, draws the charge. I mean, we've seen it on both ends of the floor now. Her just, not being afraid of contact at all.
Here is Beckers. Off to Ducharme. Edwards. Mule takes the three and knocks it down. It'll be a long 2 for Nika Mule. Nika Mule. Start for Connecticut. Rivers elevates and gets it to go. That is a difficult shot from Sanaya Rivers. Mule around the Edwards screen, scoops it in, plus the foul. A chance for 3 for Nika Mule.
Mule just going hard to her left side. I don't know how she got that to drop. Right on the heels of hitting the 3 the possession before.
Isaiah James picks up her. The announcer called it a 3 in fairness to you. Isaiah James, her second personal. So Wes Moore has to check out James, and in comes Zoe Brooks, a freshman that this town is very excited about. And number 9 overall recruit, according to our ESPN rankings. The number 4 guard has a poise and a presence to her. Dishes off to Hayes, who buries the 3.
Really nice, just a little bit of dribble penetration to get Hayes' defender to take another step towards the ball handler, and then delivered perfectly.
Beckers, the pull-up won't go. Rivers the rebound. Pushing pace for NC State. Rivers flicks it ahead. Hayes kicks it out. Brooks can't scoop it in. Collins keeps it alive and gets fouled. Good work on the offensive glass from Mimi Collins, who earns 2 free throws.
Paige Beckers getting it done with energy on both ends of the floor, defensively, and then attacking the basket, looking for the contact. How's she feeling about it? Good and strong.
Perez floats it, Brown Turner is just sensational.
How could it be better?
Becker's jumper is money. Becker's again. The streak lives. Making 14 straight trips to the Final Four for the Connecticut Huskies. Just an incredible game in Bridgeport, Connecticut 2 years ago. This is what Becker's did. Remember, she wasn't at full bloom health-wise, but scored 17 points in the fourth quarter and overtime to help withstand blow after blow from NC State. That's one of the all-time great games in NCAA tournament history.
Best non-Final Four game, certainly that I've ever covered, and probably that I've ever watched. And we were talking to Gino Auriemma earlier today, and he said there comes moments in games where you need someone to do something special, and Paige Bueckers is that player, and certainly that was the case that night.
A double overtime instant classic. Connecticut won as Collins hits the free throw. Nice response here from NC State after UConn got out of the gates very quickly.
Really important for NC State in this game to take care of the basketball. Connecticut already has 7 points off of turnovers. Also important for them to get these second opportunities.
River Baldwin travels, and NC State turns it over their fourth, Rebecca. Hey, later tonight over on ESPN, another great women's college basketball matchup. Number 9 Indiana, number 15 Stanford, 5 p.m. on ESPN and the app. So it's a great triple header we have going on today. Becker's back door lays it in on the delivery from Edwards. So South Carolina beat Maryland. And the opener of our triple header is how smooth does Rivers look here today?
Sanaya Rivers is a talent, and will one day, we talked about this last year, be a very good pro.
No doubt. You watch her for a minute and you could see she's a unquestioned pro in the making as Bueckers gets the whistle against River Baldwin. That is number 2 on River. And Connecticut is in the bonus with 4:08 still remaining in this first quarter.
Remember, the rules in women's college basketball favor the ball handler when they're facing the basket and attacking the rim. You just can't touch them.
Bueckers, a preseason All-American. It's the first free throw. Talking with Gino Auriemma before the game about Paige and ways in which she still may have improved despite all the missed time, and he said definitely stronger, which we know Holly detailed earlier and probably will some more throughout the afternoon. Said she's also more mature. Said the one issue she runs into is sometimes she's too comfy facilitating, that she just always wants to make her teammates great, and sometimes she has to call her own number a little bit more as NC State is forced to take a timeout here.
Connecticut picked up in full court pressure, and NC State simply couldn't even get the ball in bounds. They went over this morning in their shoot-around quite a bit, what they were going to try to do to counter this full court press.
Holly Rowe?
Just to put a bow on that story about Paige and the work on her body to stay healthy and on the floor, one of the biggest pieces she said of all the things she's done, Pilates, yoga, weightlifting, biometrics training, she said it's nutrition. She used to just go to the gym, not eat breakfast, and she told me today she's eating 3 meals a day, 3 snacks a day. She wakes up and has a protein shake with collagen and creatine, a protein shake before she lifts, after she lifts. Getting good calories and keeping some weight on that frame has been a priority, and she thinks that's the biggest reason she's been able to make these physical gains.
I saw her a couple of weeks ago, and it's the first thing I noticed. She is visibly bigger and stronger.
Aubrey Griffin in off the bench for Connecticut. Here's Brooks, committed to the air, was able to get it out of her hand. Shot clock down to 7. Rivers 3. Back iron, no. Another offensive rebound for the Wolfpack.
That was one of Gino Auriemma's concerns coming into this season, is how do they replace the rebounding of Dorka Juhas? And Aubrey Griffin in the game for Caroline Ducharme. Griffin is a good rebounder, but Connecticut does not have a big front line.
Right. Jana El-Alvi went down in the lead up to the season, and she would have been that just huge body in the back line as part of their big rotation. So that is an area of concern for Gino Auriemma as Nika Mule will check out after picking up her first personal foul, and into the game comes KK Arnold, number 6 ranked recruit, according to ESPN in the 2023 class. Two-point game. Crowd very engaged. Here's Arnold. Out to Edwards. Can't hit. Rebound to Rivers. Pushing pace for NC State. Hayes, look out. Collins able to grab. Brooks with 5 to shoot. Brooks, no look pass, and it ends up stolen by Griffin. I don't think Lizzie Williamson was quite ready for the no look as Rivers comes up with the emphatic rejection. Why is your point guard the one taking the opening tip? That's why.
Sanaya Rivers' athleticism has been on full display already in this game. We've seen it on both ends of the floor here. Just waiting, times it perfectly, gets the long left arm up for the block.
And then on the inbound, Edwards gets chucked. NC State is over the limit. Hayes picks up her second personal. Free throws for Connecticut. So 2 on Hayes, 2 on James, 2 on Baldwin for NC State. For those of you who've been used to the pro season, remember only 5 personals that you're allowed in the collegiate season. When it comes to personal fouls. What a jump from Aaliyah Edwards a season ago. 16.6 points per game, 9 rebounds. You see the double-doubles after she didn't have a single double-double the year before.
She had a really good freshman year, a bit of an inconsistent sophomore year, and then last year she was phenomenal. Stretch in February where all the Connecticut players struggled a bit just because they had so few numbers and were tired, but what a year it was for Aaliyah Edwards.
She would project to be a very high WNBA draft pick next season if she elects to go into the WNBA draft, can stay for another season. Lacey Steele in for NC State. Brooks off the delivery from Steele, floats it in.
Nice patience by the freshman.
She has just looked so under control. It's one of the things you hear about Zoe Brooks, how poised she is at all moments, and you could see it in her demeanor. Back iron, no for Griffin. Brooks the rebound, and Edwards the foul. That'll be the first personal on Aaliyah Edwards.
Brooks catches the ball in the paint where she's going to be undersized if she's surrounded by bigs. What does she do? Just waits, lets Griffin, the shot blocker, go by and puts it up. Now this is a quick lineup for Connecticut that can apply some extra defensive pressure.
Becker's on the bench, so is AZ Fudd. Arnold trying to get up into another freshman in Brooks. Steele able to maintain control. Shot clock is down to 10 already. This perimeter pressure from Connecticut. Brooks floats it to the corner. Collins, 4 to shoot. Back to Brooks it goes. Her 3 won't go. And it's knocked out of bounds by Arnold, and it will be NC State basketball. Arnold was left alone for the rebound and just sort of slapped it out of bounds. Steele, rhythm dribble, left it short. Here's Mule. With Aubrey Griffin, KK Arnold, Aaliyah Edwards, and Caden Samuels. Samuels, another freshman, as Edwards storms in for another layup. 7 points in this opening quarter for Aaliyah Edwards.
She's gotten so good when she catches the ball at the free throw line area, making the right decision, whether it's a pass, shot, or drive.
On the steal, Griffin gonna take it in for 2.
When these teams played a season ago, Aubrey Griffin made a real difference on the defensive end of the floor, just like we just saw, getting into passing lanes, forcing turnovers, layups the other way.
Well, you cannot telegraph a cross-court pass when Aubrey Griffin is around. Here's Steele underneath Williamson in a crowd, and that's going to be a held ball. NC State with the possession arrow.
Talked about what a great athlete Sanaya Rivers is, where here is another one. Aubrey Griffin is an elite level athlete. You see her quickness as she gets out, jumps the route, finishes the other way.
37.4 seconds remaining in this first quarter. Connecticut a 6-point lead on NC State. Collins can't finish it over Edwards. Crowd wanted a foul, and it did look like there may have been. 5-second difference game in shot clock. That 3 is good. Caden Samuels with a confident stroke. A 7-0 Connecticut run. A 9-point Connecticut lead. The clock is turned off here. Rivers draws a crowd, will fire, can't hit. And that will do it for the first quarter. Connecticut finishes it on a 7-0 run.
Connecticut's getting performances from their bigs and their guards. Aaliyah Edwards driving, getting a couple points in the paint. And how about the freshman confidently stepping into the deep 3?
We'll be back after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
True story. 4 of the nation's best will battle under one roof. First, it's a clash between top 5 heavyweights. Then, Kentucky takes on top-ranked Kansas. The State Farm Champions Classic doubleheader begins Tuesday at 7 on ESPN.
Well, looking forward to that on Tuesday, and a pretty good one here so far in Raleigh. The turnover is certainly the story in that first quarter, with Connecticut using a 7-0 run to end it to build a 9-point lead.
And that was what really hurt NC State in this matchup a season ago. They had allowed Connecticut 27 points off turnovers. Wes Moore said taking care of the basketball transition defense were the biggest keys for his team today.
See, in for Connecticut, Ice Brady, number 25, as Connecticut has its first turnover on the first possession of the second. Here is Brooks, the crossover and the jumper. Wes Moore talked about having 2 ball handlers on the floor, and because of the early foul trouble on James, a lot of run with Rivers and Brooks together.
And especially when you're turning the basketball over, get your 2 best ball handlers out there.
Here's Beckers giving it right back. Brady, catch, fire, no. And James back on the floor for NC State, helps win the rebound for the Wolfpack. Rivers. Over to Maddie Cox, younger sister of Lauren Cox, former Baylor star.
Look at Nika Mule battling down low as she's trying to defend Mimi Collins.
Rivers jumper. Ooh. Friendly rims at Valvano Arena at Reynolds Coliseum. Sanaya Rivers with 8 points. Here's Mule. Good feed. Samuels again. How good is that stroke from Caden Samuels looking?
And just beautiful, and her confidence stepping into it.
Samuels 2 for 2 from 3 since checking in for Connecticut, the freshman.
And this is an ultra small lineup for UConn.
Collins had it stripped by Fudd, timed it perfectly. Mule with Brady, Becker, Samuels, Fudd. Hazy Fudd to the corner. Samuels, not that time. Fudd looked like she had a putback if she wanted it. Instead resets. gets open, and hit from 3. Brady the offensive rebound and missed the bunny. And the rebound to Zoe Brooks. Oriema is not thrilled on the sideline as Brooks bodies in for 2.
That was a really nice take, under control by the freshman.
Beckers goes back door and finishes. Nika Mule, who set a Connecticut single-season record for most assists last year on the delivery. Collins missed the wide-open bunny. Into the corner, Bud can't hit. Brady kept it alive. Collins batted it, and a held ball. NC State owns the possession.
Zoe Brooks does not look like a freshman. She's playing with confidence here. Just goes right against the Big East 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, and then the back cut by Paige Becker is delivered by Mule.
Already 5 assists for Nika Mule. Rivers gets fouled by Fudd. Bounced out with the body. And that will be number 2 on AZ Fudd. Caroline Ducharme going to come and get Caden Samuels. Here's James. Got 19 points in the first quarter of NC State's opener. Zoe Brooks able to finish. Nice take by Zoe Brooks. 6-point game.
It's a really fun backcourt for NC State.
Yeah.
Brooks comes in alongside Rivers.
Fudd gets alone again. Can't hit. Has had some really good looks. Mule able to battle and win the board. Here's Ducharme airmailing it. Connecticut's had a lot of really good looks from 3 over the last few possessions. Cox will fire and hit. Three-point game, Brady. Faces up, short. Rivers surging, taking, and gets the whistle. Sanaya Rivers will shoot 2.
The penetration kick. Brooks is willing to just attack and get in the paint. And how about the other freshman? Cox here as the trail 3 steps in confidently, feeling it after it as well.
Wes Moore has to be very pleased with the way his team has responded in this first half thus far.
NC State shooting 52%. They just have 7 fewer field goal attempts because of those early turnovers. Yeah, they had answers when it looked like UConn might have an opportunity to blow it open. I love the student section here, by the way.
They're fantastic. Mallory Collier, a freshman center, will check in for NC State. You know, speaking of the student section, somewhere around intros I heard what sounded like a very real sounding werewolf noise. And I think it was not pumped in. I think it was the student section as Rivers is going to make them explode with the steal and the finish. An 8-0 run, and NC State has tied it. Ducharme flips it in.
I'm looking forward to the ball going out of bounds at some point so we can just replay that Rivers play. That was spectacular.
Here's Cox on the attack, banking it home. Cox showing you her versatility, the 3 and then the drive. By the way, Sanaya Rivers 11 points in this first half for NC State as Beckers goes across her body to finish. Beckers up to 10. Fun first half here in Raleigh.
This is the first week of the women's college basketball season. We are seeing high-level basketball.
Deflected by Beckers. Here's Ducharme, faking the three, drives it, flips it. Edwards, travel. Timeout on the floor, 2-point game in North Carolina.
Sanaya Rivers, show me a little something. The steal behind the back, corrals it, tough finish. Oh, look at the crowd, look at her. Stay tuned.
Coming up in studio at the halftime report with Andrea Carter and Elle Duncan, South Carolina with the game of the century. It will all make sense a little bit. And we've got highlights from LSU, who's in action right now. But Reynolds Coliseum is rocking right now, and those fans are getting plenty to cheer from their team.
Yeah, absolutely. They have a lot to be excited about. Add Zoe Brooks to the fearless freshman category that we've been talking about to start the season for NC State. I like them attacking early. They've got a balance with the turnovers. Quick, but not in a hurry. That's the motto.
Hey, RL just said it, high-level basketball. Let's get back to it.
All right, Elle, and all right, birthday girl, Andrea Carter. Happy birthday to our teammate. Doing an outstanding job in studio, and we will see her with us soon. And speaking of stars, how about BG? Diana Taurasi in the building here, catching the action in Raleigh. Pretty good. Meanwhile, NC State's done a nice job to dig into what was a big UConn lead. Tied it a moment ago, now trailing by 2 as we check in with Holly Rowe.
You know, Auriemma is frustrated with the lack of movement in this offense. He just told his team, hey, look, what do we do in practice? We cut, we pass, we cut, we pass. That's what we're not doing. He wants more movement in their offense. Too much standing around.
Thank you, Hal. Here's James. Gets the whistle against Beckers, I believe, and that will be her second.
You know, though, Ryan, here in the second quarter, and you brought it up, you've got a lot of really good-looking threes. In particular, AZ Fudd, a number of wide-open looks they just weren't able to convert. 3 of 12 from 3, UConn is so far.
And they had, I felt like, 4 or 5 of those misses in the span of 3 possessions, where they had a couple offensive rebounds and good looks as well. As James hits the free throw. Rivers getting a breather for NC State. As James misses the second, and it's knocked out of bounds by Cox. Connecticut basketball. .4:15 to go in this first half. Here's Mule. Fires a dart into Edwards, just couldn't handle it. And that is the 4th turnover for Connecticut. Griffin, Beckers, Ducharme, Edwards, and Mule are the 5 for Connecticut. As Zoe Brooks takes it across, flings it to James, working baseline, can't float it in. Offensive rebound, but turning it over is Mallory Collier. The indication was a travel. Looked like she may have been on the end line as well. Nonetheless, that is the 9th turnover from NC State. Beckers posting, finishing, plus the foul. And Paige Beckers a chance for 3.
You get the elbow entry to Aaliyah Edwards, and then Paige Beckers cuts to the basket, keeps the D behind her. Really nice job with the finish. You forget sometimes that Paige Beckers is a pretty tall young woman.
6 foot.
Yeah.
And very efficient so far here today. 12 points, 5 of 6 from the floor. Well, you and I have talked about this off air before as well, Rebecca. Because Paige hasn't played that much basketball over the last couple of years, it's easy to forget just how incredible she was as a freshman.
And performances by other players have made it you know, easier as well. But yes, she's going to be reintroducing herself all season long.
James in the corner. Mika Mule on the bench now for Connecticut. K.K. Arnold in, Beckers bounces, Edwards somehow got it, but then traveled. Went through the legs of Cox, but Edwards walks.
Isaiah James in the left corner, the great +1 pass. Lefty steps into it confidently, continuing to shoot the ball well.
Meanwhile, Rebecca, Connecticut did not have a turnover in the first quarter. They have 5 here in the second. As Collier checks out for NC State. Brooks, Hayes, James, Cox, and Collins, the 5 for NC State. James, short. Good box out there from Aaliyah Edwards. Beckers gets tripped up by James. That will be her 3rd.
Paige Beckers has been in full attack mode today.
And now James has to go to the bench after picking up number 3. Sanaya Rivers back in.
Yeah, her foot just barely trips up Paige Becker's toe.
Beckers and Edwards both check out. Griffin as well. Arnold, Brady, Fudd, Samuels, Mule in for Connecticut. Here's Arnold. Pulls up. Can't hit the jumper. Brady active on the offensive glass, but NC State controls it. You can see the defensive pressure from K.K. Arnold. That is part of what she will bring to the table as a freshman for Connecticut this season. Here's Brooks. Off to Rivers. NC State hasn't led yet today. Have a chance to take the lead here as Rivers wiggles into another whistle.
3 different UConn players were sort of defending Sanaya Rivers as she's going off to the right side. Goes, okay, who's coming now? It's Mule, a little bit miscommunication. KK, nope. Just with a little bit of wiggle in her movement, Rivers able to get to the basket.
Holly?
Well, when she was in high school, a lot of people called her the young MJ. She went to Michael Jordan's high school in North Carolina before her family got displaced by Hurricane Florence, and she does have that kind of move and movement to her frame, but she wants to get even better. Her mid-range is tight. She can slash to the basket, but she has been working tirelessly on her three-point shot. When she was at South Carolina, she was 1 of 31 from 3 her freshman year, and she said, I have to be a 3-level threat. That's where all of her time and attention went to in the offseason.
And Rivers has just given NC State its first lead. Samuels, not that time. Rivers talked to us about feeling like her speed could be a factor today against Connecticut. It has been thus far. It is again there. Fun. It's a big jumper for Connecticut, much needed after a 7-0 NC State run. Rivers is up to 15 points, 6 of 8 from the floor. Brooks gets blocked by Fudd. Here comes Mule running the break for Connecticut. Mule barrels in, can't finish. Samuels got her hands on him. Rivers flings it ahead, and Brooks puts it home. Samuels on the drive, lays it in. Good back and forth action here.
I mean, just the last 2 plays by the freshmen for each team.
As you said, Rebecca, it's been incredible the level of basketball we have seen in the first week of the season.
Really, truly.
Rivers, cross court. Brooks. to Hayes, 6 to shoot in the corner. Collins can't hit, and Connecticut can hold for a final shot. Bud off to Arnold, who flips it in with 3 seconds to go in this first half. Brooks loses control, and that'll do it. For the first half of basketball, Connecticut takes a 1-point lead into the locker room. A highly entertaining first half, and Sanaya Rivers is with Holly.
Sanaya, this team feels unafraid going up against a team like UConn. What has gotten confidence into you?
We don't have anything to lose, Holly. We're just out here putting our all onto the floor. They didn't even rank us this year, so we're just trying to prove that we should be.
You told me before the game your speed would be a factor, and it has been. How are you finding your space on the floor?
It's hard. We're putting a lot of effort on defense, but in order to win, we just got to flip the script, score on offense, and we're doing a really good job at it.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Sanaya Rivers has been tremendous today. 15 points in this first half as we send things to Elle and Drea.
All right, thank you, Ryan Rucco. Much more on that game coming up in just a little bit. Let's get you some highlights of the game of the centuries. We welcome you into your halftime report, talking about South Carolina, number 6, taking on Maryland. Off the Maryland turnover, Sanaya Ja with the and one.
I'm just so impressed by this South Carolina team. You talk about losing the winningest class in program history, and this group has so much chemistry and so much togetherness on both ends of the floor.
So you're just going to see a whole rip of highlights of South Carolina dominating. They would end up scoring 114 points. Listen, it's the first time in program history, Dre, that in back-to-back games to start the season, they hit the century mark.
This is a team that averaged 4 made threes a game last season. They had 12 made threes. What do three-point shots do? They open up the inside. They open up driving lanes. This South Carolina team's offense is so impressive.
It's so impressive, and so is their ability to win at Colonial Life. You take a look at the longest home win streaks. They're currently sitting right now at 43 games. They're still chasing their other record from 2013 through 16. But when you roll the ball into Colonial Life, you don't come out there with a win if you are the opposing team, at least over the last few seasons. As we officially say hello to you, I'm Elle Duncan. She is Andrea Carter. Speaking of undefeated, I'm undefeated at wishing her a happy birthday.
It's going to be all day,
girl.
It's going to be all day, in case you're wondering.
It's going to be all day. Speaking of which, it feels like a long day for UConn right now, who have a 1-point lead at the half, but it doesn't exactly feel like they're winning right now.
Yeah, once NC State realized they needed to take care of the basketball, they were able to get downhill and get going and play with that energy. And the early attacks for NC State, that downhill momentum, that speed that Holly Rowe just mentioned, has been a huge difference. And give Zoe Brooks credit. Put her in the category of fearless freshman that we have already seen to start the season. She pushes in transition. She plays with her eyes up. That inside-out dribble, that's my favorite move. You'll hear me talk about inside-out dribbles all season long. Her ability to attack, find her teammates, and play with a level of confidence goes with some of the great freshmen that we've already seen to start the season.
Speaking of playing for confidence, if there is a bright spot on this UConn team right now, it's Paige Beckers and how she looks. She's leading the game right now with 13 points.
Well, there were a couple plays from Paige that were indicative to me that, okay, she feels good, right? The first one was early in the game. It was a defensive play. Right here, you sit in a stance, you get a tip on the ball, and then you dive on the floor. You see how her knees hit the ground? The knees were the trouble. That's what she struggled with the last couple of seasons. She dives on the floor, and then here, the patience creates the crossover, and then initiates a little bit of contact to attack the rim. Those are the type of plays that let me know that Paige Beckers is feeling good. And then here, the seal off of the cut. She slips and then finishes again through contact. Rebecca Lobo mentioned it. Paige's ability to seek contact and initiate contact and not be afraid of getting hit lets me know that she's feeling good out there on the floor, which is a great sign for Connecticut fans.
Also a great sign. Last time Paige Beckers faced NC State, she scored 27 points in a win. We, of course, will have much more on that game after it concludes, and the second half is on the way. All right, that game is still ahead as we get you set from second half action from Raleigh. NC State keeping this thing tight against UConn. We'll get you back out there for second half action after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
Well, Paige Beckers, 13 points, 5 of 6 from the floor in the first half at NC State. Meanwhile, Sanaya Rivers, an outstanding job leading the way for the Wolfpack with 15 points on 6 of 8 shooting. As we welcome you back courtside, Ryan Rucco alongside the Hall of Famer Rebecca Lobo. Fun, back and forth first half. And those two young women were the stars.
We had a delightful backcourt battle in that first half. Just big performances from players on both teams. And we'll start with Paige Bueckers for UConn. We saw her score in multiple ways, but here, the energy that she brings on the defensive end. You have to go over a hand off her screen. Here she reads it beautifully, able to curl around, gets the nice pass from Aaliyah Edwards, and the way UConn runs the motion offense. Here she goes, looks like she's screening, slips the screen instead based on the switch by the NC State defenders, scoring with the and one inside, crossing over, looking for contact, using that new, stronger frame of hers. And Sanaya Rivers, one of the most fun players to watch in women's college basketball. Elite mid-range game. We see her going left, out in transition, delivers the beautiful pass on the move, getting it done defensively as well. Just not only the steal, but the behind the back to keep the ball. And then we're going back like 30 years, raising the roof a little bit there.
Connecticut had a 9-point lead after one. It is 1 point. As we get ready to start the third quarter, you see the turnover stories. We send things over to Holly Rowe.
Gino Auriemma said that they have got to get more out of their post players, more activity, more scoring, making things harder. He's also frustrated with how NC State is just driving right by them. He said, they're driving by us, being aggressive. We're making one move and not passing the ball. He wants more cutting, more movement, more aggression overall. He thinks NC State's the more aggressive team right now.
All right, Hall, we'll see if UConn answers the bell here in the second half. And a whistle going the other way on Edwards. That will be her second personal. By the way, Wes Moore makes a change to his starting lineup here in the third quarter. The freshman Zoe Brooks starting the second half rather than Isaiah James, the junior who had 3 fouls in that first half.
Brooks so good, but also you give James a few more minutes where she won't pick up a foul.
So Mule putting some full court pressure on Sanaya Rivers. Rivers a 3 off the mark. Rebound on the floor, and Mule up with it. Here's Ducharme. Ducharme on the attack. Bodies in and gets called for the charge. River Baldwin taking the blow.
Yeah, Caroline Ducharme just trying to force the action, and Baldwin, yeah, for sure. She's got the position, does a great job taking the charge. I always like when the big players take the charge because they go down harder than the smaller players do. It's hard to resist the temptation to go for the block, too.
Did you like that when you were the big player taking the charge?
In my entire college and pro career, I never took a charge.
Stop that.
Shot blockers don't take charges,
Not
Ryan.
once in your life?
Not once.
Wow. Get stats and information on that immediately. Here's Bueckers. Edwards from 18, no. And Brooks the rebound. Here's Zoe Brooks. Off to Collins, her 3, short. Brooks the offensive board and is tripped up by Fudd. Oh, they're going to call it on Nika Mule. And that would be number 2 on Mule rather than number 3 on Fudd.
Now charge to number 10, Nika Mule, her second.
I think they're going to check on whether or not this should be on Nika Mule or on AZ Fudd. That's not on Nika Mule. She's nowhere near the play.
That's on
It's
Ducharme. No, it was on Ducharme. It was Ducharme's left foot.
Yeah, you're right.
And it's a similar foul that we saw called early when Paige Bueckers got tripped up.
They're taking a look at it right now.
People don't know your full story when you step on the court. I feel like I'm so much more than this game and what people have wanted me to be. I'm gonna live my life and I'm gonna do it unapologetically.
That is airing tonight at 9 Eastern on ESPN. And I can tell you, I went to the premiere last week in Los Angeles. This is a phenomenal film. I've covered Candace for almost every moment of her career, and I learned a lot in this film that I didn't even know. It's intimate. It's video of the birth of her child. It's home videos that you've never seen, and it is her career laid out in this beautiful way. You do not want to miss Candace Parker, Unapologetic.
Well, we look forward to that tonight, Holly, 9 Eastern on ESPN, and then afterwards will be available to stream on ESPN+. Meanwhile, the foul and who it was on was being reviewed. That's why we went to break there. There was a timeout, and it was changed. No longer a foul on Mule. Instead, it was a foul on Ducharme. And here, Edwards picks up her third. By the way, it was number 2 on Ducharme. Mule remains with 1. And Ducharme on the bench now for Connecticut as Aubrey Griffin checked in. Well, Sanaya Rivers, Midnight Madness, prime time with the pack. How about this? Sanaya Rivers throwing it down.
Two-handed.
At 6'1".
She shouldn't take charges either. She should try to block every shot.
That's it. Got the Lobo blessing.
Yes.
Don't tell Wes Moore. Tied at 43. Beckers. Zigging, zagging, and finishing. Paige Becker's been very aggressive off the bounce today and effective 15 points on 6 of 8 shooting. By the way, NC State is in the bonus already. Not even 2 minutes into the third quarter. And it matters right there. Beckers picks up her third, and NC State goes to the line.
NC State's defense has been terrific and hasn't allowed Connecticut to get anything easy. So the result is Paige Beckers has had to go out there and try to create on her own. To limit UConn's assists the way NC State has, UConn only 8 assists on 18 made field goals. They usually have a higher assist percentage than that.
Last time Connecticut played a game here in Raleigh, you have to go back to November 24th of 2002. Connecticut win. Wes Moore talked about how happy he was to get Connecticut here for this game. He and Gino Auriemma have such respect for one another. As he sits both, it's tied at 45. Beckers and Edwards remain on the floor, 3 fouls apiece. And a foul here against Zoe Brooks. Put her hands on Mule. And that'll be number 2 on Brooks. And the first team foul against NC State. Here's Beckers. Beckers elevates, can't finish. Baldwin the rebound. Rivers dances back, out beyond the arc. Brooks a 3. Back iron, no. Griffin the rebound. NC State just 3 of 11 from downtown. Connecticut just 3 of 13. They were 2 of 5 in the first quarter. Gino Auriemma directing traffic from the sideline. Here's Fudd. Shot clock down to 4. Edwards, mid-range, off. Rebound Griffin, got fouled by Collins. Stays here. Hey, Saturday, tune into our Week 12 ACC Network football lineup, starting with number 11 Louisville at Miami at noon, and then the Hokies host the Wolfpack from Blacksburg at 3:30 Eastern. We'll cap the day with Syracuse taking on Georgia Tech at 8. Both games also available on the ESPN app, so you can watch anywhere. Is Holly Rowe doing all of those games?
Probably.
Here's Edwards. Leaning in, a lot of contact. No bucket. Rivers, who's been a factor on the glass as well at that guard position, loses her footing. Zoe Brooks, beautiful pass out to Hayes, who buries the three. Largest lead of the game for NC State.
Beautiful dribble penetration to get deep in the paint, suck the defense in, and then find an open teammate up top.
Beckers looking to answer, and does. Paige Beckers up to 18 points. Rivers off to Hayes. Brooks settles. This might be one of those games where Beckers has to put the team on her back. Collins with a triple. Westmore has been working a lot with Mimi Collins on her shot. Trying to change her form. She delivers there. Griffin swivels inside, met two bodies, and traveled.
Beautiful dribble penetration deep inside, drawing the defense, kicking out for three. Paige Beckers, though, with the answer, the deep three. Mimi Collins made 9 threes all of last season, already has 4 here in their second game.
Aubrey Griffin turns and gets sandwiched with Collins and Baldwin there. Gets called for the travel, but was shaken up. You see the way her head gets smashed against the stomach of Baldwin. Remained on the floor for a while, and then when she did finally get to her feet, was taken back to the locker room. This is a player who has dealt with injuries throughout her Connecticut career, and Connecticut as a program besieged by injuries over the last 2 seasons. It was funny to see the way they just were devastated by injuries over the last couple of seasons, including not having enough healthy players for games at times. And last game, you had 10 players scored for Connecticut. Last year, they only had 1 game in which 10 players even played because they were so understaffed as we send things over to Holly.
Well, the big reason that they're struggling right now is the rebounding. Gino Auriemma just challenged them in the huddle that they are not offensive rebounding. He said, we've got 3. That really hurts. He had inserted Aubrey Griffin just for that because Ducharme has not been rebounding, and now she's out. So who's going to board for them?
Yeah, that's a big thing, Holly. And Ducharme, no rebounds on the day. Griffin had gotten 4 before that injury. So Connecticut staying with a smaller lineup with Samuels in, not Caroline Ducharme.
Held ball here, stays with NC State. Yeah, NC State is a +9 on the glass right now. And Rebecca, you talked about earlier, this was the biggest concern for Gino Auriemma going into the season. Just the ability to hang on the interior without having a ton of size in his post rotation.
Not a ton of size and not a lot of depth in that post rotation either.
Knocked away, Baldwin has it in the corner. Baldwin, loose handle, flips it out. Collins. Rivers sizing up Beckers. Rivers elevates and knocks it down.
Her mid-range, and it's equally as good when she dribbles left or right.
Largest lead of the afternoon for NC State. Unranked to begin this season. 5-point edge on number 2 Connecticut. Fudd, they needed that. Fudd now 3 of 8 from the floor. Hit a 3 on the game's first possession. Missed her next 4 from downtown. Here's Hayes. Brooks trying to cut between 2, and no whistle here as Rivers spins it in. Mika Mule took a shot after coming up with a loose ball and lost it. No whistle blew, and Rivers took advantage.
fun to have somebody on the opposing team right in the mouth with the fingers, and that's why she goes down there.
Clearly should have been a foul right there. Maybe not down where the ball was, but on the face swipe.
Yeah. And that's hard to see if it makes contact or not. Like live. It's easy for us to see right here with the replay.
Now they are taking a look at this. They're just taking a look to see whether or not there was an intentional foul there. And it was ruled there was not. They call it incidental contact, so play continues with NC State leading by 5. And when you hear intentional foul, women's college game, that's like hearing the word flagrant in the pro game. So that's why they're able to go back and take a look at that, but nothing there for them to call intentional. Beckers backdoor cut, gets swatted by Collins, who is waiting. Brooks, the crossover, the lay is good. Becker's great kick to Samuels on a 3. Third 3 of the day for Caden Samuels, and a timeout.
Paige Beckers continues to attack the paint, and great help defense. Collins comes over and swipes the shot, and then Brooks, man, she's been fearless, attacking the paint. We've seen her make great passes out of the paint as well. This time she finishes.
12 points for Zoe Brooks as we check in with Holly.
Well, we all should have seen this coming with Zoe Brooks, because we actually covered her 2 years ago when she was a high school student in the WNBA All-Star Skills Challenge. She was paired with the pro, Sabrina Ionescu, and here is Zoe winning the 2022 WNBA Skills Challenge. The thing I loved about this is before this, we did an interview with her, and she was like, I told Sabrina she better come correct and be good with it. And I just love that we saw something special in her. She was a junior in high school, and she was already confident and cocky in the best possible way. And I saw her today before practice, and she was like, oh, I'm still cocky. I'm still that confident young lady. She totally believes in her game, and she looks comfortable out here.
I mean, what a great story that this young woman, as a high school student, paired with Sabrina Ionescu, wins the Skills Challenge, and now is here starring for NC State.
I just love the part where she told Sabrina, like, you better be
you
ready to win this thing.
Hey, the Skills Challenge 1 year for Sabrina, and the 3-point contest the next. Meanwhile, just to clean up one more aspect of that review on the no call where Nika Mule took the contact from Brooks, in case you're wondering, well, hold on a second. They were reviewing it. Why didn't they call it a foul? The only kind of foul they could have called is an intentional foul. They can't then come back and call it a common foul on that review. Rivers just lost it. Here's Fudd. The hesitation, the stop, left it short. Rivers contested, and it's controlled by Collins.
You saw Connecticut in a 2-3 zone. They've gone to that a fair amount here in this game when they're in their undersized lineup.
3 minutes to go in the third. NC State a surprising 4-point lead. Collins turns and hits. That is a difficult shot from Mimi Collins. She's had some big moments in this third. Fudd from 15, yeah.
That's been the spot for her. Couple dribble pull-up right around the elbow area. She has been consistent today.
Easy Fudd up to 9 points. 4-point NC State lead. NC State has not beaten UConn since 1998. Here's Rivers. She got it! On a three! Samuels in the corner. Not that time. Rivers the rebound. Her 7th. A new career high, 23 points today for Sanaya Rivers. Baldwin backing down Edwards. Baldwin. Rebound over to Beckers. Beckers into the paint, finds Fudd. Off on a three. Hayes the rebound. Connecticut now 5 of 17 from deep. Brooks dumps it inside. Beckers battling, and it's out of bounds to Connecticut. Hey, later tonight over on ESPN, another great women's college basketball matchup. Number 9, Indiana against number 15, Stanford. 5 p.m. on ESPN and the app.
The second possession in a row where an NC State big had a mismatch, not able to deliver this time. The previous possession, they waited until AZ, Fudd, and Edwards switched, and they no longer had the mismatch, but it's there early in the possession if the guards can get it inside.
Since the first quarter, NC State has outscored UConn by 16. Edwards the spin, can't finish it. Samuels keeps it alive. Another chance here for Connecticut. Fudd on the drive, out to Beckers. That's a charge. River Baldwin doing something Rebecca Lobo never did in her career. A big taking the charge.
Go ahead, big girl. Don't you block that shot. Ooh.
Number 3 on Fudd. It just feels right now, Rebecca, like all the momentum is with NC State.
It is.
Wes Moore was bracing himself for what could happen this afternoon against Connecticut, knowing he's got a really new squad as Beckers checks out. Lost his top 4 leading scorers from a season ago. And this is a Connecticut team that's healthier than they've been in years. Number 2 in the nation. But NC State has been up to the challenge thus far and then some.
They've showed incredible toughness, resiliency, good D.
As that's out of bounds, last touch, Hayes. It is Connecticut basketball. I think it's safe to say NC State is not going to go the whole season unranked.
They're going to be ranked on Monday, no matter what the result of this game is.
Here's KK Arnold. The freshman dips into the paint. Great setup for Edwards on the layup. Shot clock turned off. 5-point NC State lead. Brooks gets it back. 3 seconds to go. Brooks has to hoist. Does. Can't hit. And that'll do it for the third. Sanaya Rivers, a career high 23 points this afternoon. And NC State looking for a huge early season upset. They have not beaten UConn since March 23rd of 1998. 1 quarter away from doing it here this afternoon. Well, after Connecticut got out to a 9-point lead, it's been all NC State leading by 5 at the start of the fourth thanks to Sanaya Rivers.
What does an elite mid-range game look like, Ryan Rucco? Well, let's just keep our eyes on Sanaya Rivers. It doesn't matter if she goes left, like on the first play, or right, or here, right into the middle, surrounded by defenders, 6'1". Just elevates, and beautiful touch on this mid-range shot. She has been so much fun to watch.
23 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 blocks. And Connecticut has won 6 straight meetings against NC State. The Wolfpack has not beaten UConn since 1998. Holly?
Guys, I have an injury update on Aubrey Griffin from UConn. She is good to return to this game after taking that blow to the face. It's huge news because NC State is crushing UConn on the boards right now, 33-21. They need some size and rebounding inside ASAP.
Yeah, it is a massive difference on the glass as Edwards ended the third with a bucket, starts the fourth with one. 11 points now for Aaliyah Edwards. Beckers begins the fourth quarter on the bench. So does Griffin along with Newell. Rivers at that time. Rebound pops to Baldwin. And that time, Connecticut was in position to board it, but no communication. Ducharme. Arnold trying to find an angle. Stops, pivots, blocked. Baldwin. And James comes away with it. Isaiah James through the legs off the ball.
I wonder how many more minutes Gino Marama will buy for Paige Beckers on the bench here.
Trying to keep her between 25 and 30 as she builds up. She's at 24.
I think she'll be closer to 30 than the 25.
I think that's fair. Edwards, another jumper. 3-point NC State lead. With buckets from Aaliyah Edwards. Zoe Brooks on the bench for NC State to begin the fourth. So is Mimi Collins. Collins getting ready to check in now. Here's Rivers. Off to Hayes, into the corner. James connects! On a three.
Does a really nice job screening the top of the zone, getting Connecticut's defense in rotation and making the extra pass to the left corner.
Edwards used her foot to control that. That's going the other way. There's a poor entry pass, and Edwards gets called for the kick ball.
Get the ball to the right wing, and here you see Baldwin setting the screen. Now what happens? The zone is in rotation. Samuels just can't get to the corner quickly enough. Really well executed.
Connecticut, after turning it over 0 times in the first quarter, has coughed it up 9 times since. And NC State has done a better job of controlling the basketball after they were sloppy in the first. Rivers gets it to James, 2 to shoot, foul on the floor, basket will not count. What you look at is the start of the try, and Decanter rules that the foul was before the start of the try.
Good ball movement again, and yeah, Cadence gets her right on the arm as she's starting the dribble portion of the move.
Now here comes Beckers. She might get to 31 minutes.
She might. Unless we got overtime.
Enters at 24. Arnold checks out. And another kick from Edwards. This one on the defensive end will stay here.
That stat kept in the box score.
Yeah.
She would already have a couple today.
And on both, I think they were actually a value to Connecticut. One force might have been a run out after a poor entry pass, and that one maybe saved a layup.
Yeah.
James gets loose and lays it in. Largest lead of the afternoon for NC State. Beckers stops and travels.
NC State had the right side of the floor overloaded, and so when James made Beckers bite, was able to go back door right there. Got the nice finish as well.
This is not an easy building to come into, and Connecticut finding that out this afternoon. 8-point NC State lead. James, black iron no. Beckers battling on the glass. Collins winning. And a held ball. Possession arrow belongs with NC State. Rebecca, what are you seeing from Connecticut right now on the offensive end?
You know, this is a team that is so good when they find their rhythm and when they get dribble penetration and cuts and movement, and they haven't had that same kind of a flow today. In the first half, we saw them get really, really good looks from the perimeter. They just haven't been able to make them consistently.
NC State a plus 14 on the glass. James tried to sell a foul there.
And conversely, NC State, Westmore's teams are always solid, terrific, physical, really good man-to-man defensive teams, and we've seen that for certain again here today. They have been the ones making things disruptive for Connecticut and taking that flow away.
A three-time ACC Coach of the Year in his 11th season leading this program. Here's Rivers. Rivers leans in and gets fouled. Sanaya Rivers will shoot two. Hayden Samuels picks up her second. There just has been no, to your point, Rebecca, no real rhythm from Connecticut in the second half. And Sanaya Rivers, it feels like if she can get a bucket or to the line almost anytime she wants to.
And Connecticut has tried a variety of defenders on her, and she's just that kind of elite scorer that hasn't been able to be slowed down.
Rivers up to 25. 6 of 8 from the line. A 7-0 NC State run. Their lead is 10. They can taste a jubilant Sunday evening in Raleigh. 6.5 minutes for Connecticut to do something about it. Edwards gets blocked.
That is the 6th block by NC State. It has been a block party for them all day long, from the guards, from the bigs.
Collins on that rejection. Here's Fudd. Trying to go baseline, met by Hayes. Throws it away. Rivers running. James lays it in. NC State has a 12-point lead on Connecticut, and right now the Huskies turning the ball over too frequently as well. We saw it generate the most recent NC State bucket.
Yeah, coming into the game, the NC State guards felt like they had the speed advantage, and certainly that last play they used it. Got the turnover, pushed it the other way. They have 18 fast break points on the day.
Last top 5 win for NC State while being unranked, December 29th of 2016. Connecticut had a 9-point lead after the first, but NC State has dominated since. Gino Auriemma searching for answers right now at Reynolds Coliseum. Aubrey Griffin back on the floor for Connecticut after taking a shot to the head earlier in this half. It's Edwards, Fudd, Beckers, Mule, and Griffin for Connecticut. Rivers, Hayes, James, Collins, and Maddie Cox for NC State. And Connecticut make a push. Beckers. That's going to be a charge on Beckers. And foul number 4 on Paige Beckers.
It's been outstanding defense by NC State all day long, and Connecticut runs an offense that's hard to defend, and here just steps and moves. Fair call. And it just feels like NC State all game long has kind of known and felt where UConn is going to go, where they're going to cut, how they're going to use the screens, and have been able to get there.
So foul number 4 on Paige Beckers. Beckers was then getting an explanation from Decanter on that call. Feeling that James owned the spot. Here's Rivers. Gets free and lays it in. .27 for Sanaya Rivers in 11-0 NC State run. Edwards, deep catch, and spins it in. That ends the run. Can Connecticut get stops now?
Well, that's been the big question for Connecticut all game long. NC State shooting 54%. They've done a great job of getting good looks and converting tough looks as well.
Right, the only thing they've struggled with at times on the offensive end is turnovers. Cox off to Rivers, her 3, missed it badly, and out of bounds to Connecticut. Let's check in with Elle Duncan.
Thank you, Ryan. Still to come, we cap what's been an amazing triple header with a top 15 matchup between number 9 Indiana and number 15 Stanford. The All-American forward Mackenzie Holmes averaging almost 17 points per game against ranked opponents for her career, Ryan.
All right, we look forward to that matchup, Elle. Beckers serves it in. Back-to-back buckets from Connecticut. Still 4:45 to go in the 4th. Rivers taking direction from Westmore on the sideline. James in the corner. You bet!
And that was over the long arm of Aubrey Griffin. A really well-contested shot.
Took a while for James to get going, but now she has. 10 points in the 4th for Isaiah James as Edwards draws a whistle.
Catches quickly, feet are set. The lefty just goes right into the stroke as Griffin tries to contest it. Gosh, the poise, time and time again by the NC State players.
All 10 of those second-half points from James in this 4th quarter.
It's an NC State team that lost their top 4 scorers from a season ago.
Edwards, it's the first. NC State as a team, 8 of 20 from 3-point range. 5 of 12 in the second half. Edwards hits both. Lee Edwards up to 17 points. Connecticut trying to force some pressure here. James swiftly up the floor. Off to Baldwin. Baldwin's jumper is true.
Great job off the on-ball screen. The trap came and delivered it perfectly to Baldwin. There was help, though, in the paint, so she was wise to just pull up for the J.
NC State has also played very unselfishly, making the right play seemingly every possession. Here's Fudd off to Edwards, spinning and laying it home. Malia Edwards has been Connecticut's offense in this 4th quarter. But on this end, can the Huskies get stops? Rivers the fake and missed the layup. An opportunity for Connecticut in transition. Here's Beckers, a 3 they need, and they have it. 8-point game. Beckers up to 23 points, a 9 of 13 shooting. Only she and Samuels have really shot it efficiently here today. Collins from 15, no. Rebound Edwards, there's a shoe down, it's Samuels. She puts it on very swiftly. Beckers drives in, kicks out. Fudge jumper short. Missed opportunity there for Connecticut with a little momentum building for them. Clock is the friend of NC State. Sanaya Rivers Goes right to the rim, uncontested. Lays it home, 29 for Rivers. And a confusing defensive sequence for Connecticut. Samuels in the corner, can't hit. Rivers with their 10th rebound, also has 5 assists and 3 blocks. Rivers spinning, dishing, James can't hit. Ford Hayes, another chance for NC State to run a little more clock. Rivers bounces, Baldwin gets fouled, and free throws here for Baldwin.
Sanaya Rivers smartly had the ball, slowed it down, and then just attacked the basket. No help there at all, defensive breakdown, but Rivers has been taking advantage of everything that's been given to her here today.
Think about some of the players who have gotten into the national consciousness early with impressive performances through this first week of the season, and Sanaya Rivers bursting into that conversation as well. We saw her make an impact in the national championship game against Connecticut a couple of years ago for South Carolina after she hadn't really been playing. Huge afternoon here for Rivers. Baldwin hits both free throws. Becker's floater is good. 25 for Paige Beckers, and a timeout taken by Connecticut. .120 to go in this fourth quarter. Isaiah James and Sanaya Rivers have been excellent in this second half.
And in the game, they've combined for 45 of 84 points for NC State, and the ability to hit from outside, moving the ball around. Sanaya Rivers has done a good job finding teammates when they've been open. And then what she's been able to do, I mean, she has just absolutely been an elite 3-level scorer today. And I'll say 3-level because she did hit that 1-3. Yep. And got out in transition. I mean, she's the real deal. And she has had it all on display today.
NC State has been in the bonus since the 8:02 mark of this fourth quarter. Connecticut doesn't have to give any fouls to start playing the free throw game if they want to. You see what Rivers and James have done, a career high for Rivers. James has 10 of her 16 in the fourth quarter. And NC State has led this game since the 8:17 mark of the third. Newell's going to foul. Connecticut will put Rivers at the line.
63% free throw shooter from a season ago. Much better though here today, 6 for 8.
Rebecca, there can't be that many 30, 10, and 5 games. You think about what Rivers is about to do with 1 free throw. There you go. 30 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. That's a rare line if you're going to go through the annals of NC State, which of course we now have our researchers on. This is a historic performance today from Sanaya Rivers. And another offensive rebound, but a travel, and it's Connecticut basketball.
Against the number 2 ranked team in the country.
Yeah,
it sounds like this is just some preseason game against a whatever opponent.
Right. 11-point hole Connecticut faces. Becker's short. Edwards, an outstanding rebound. It'll be the second team foul on NC State, so Connecticut will take this out under the hoop. 109 remaining in this fourth quarter. Weaves around, kicks to the corner. Beckers, the floater is good. Paige Beckers has been terrific today, 27 points on 11 of 16 from the floor as Mule fouls Rivers, and Sanaya Rivers is going back to the stripe.
I mean, if Sanaya Rivers gets a consistent three-point shot, holy cow.
You see Connecticut, their record against unranked opponents over the last 3 seasons.
You heard Sanaya talking to Holly at halftime and mentioning, you know, we're unranked.
Yeah.
You know, they took that personally, and clearly they should have.
Well, they're going to be ranked tomorrow.
Yes.
Rivers misses the free throw. This is why you extend the game like this, because it does keep the door open. We miss a few, and Rivers has missed 2 of her last 3. It's that one. 31 points for Rivers.
Gotta go quick.
Beckers behind the screen, off to Samuels. Connecticut maybe taking a little too much time here. Beckers hoists, short, rebound, tipped out of bounds, stays with Connecticut, 40.6 to go. Beckers trying to drive it, flips it up and off. Wanted to whistle, didn't get it, and now a held ball and a little extra. It'll stay with Connecticut with 35 seconds to go. A reminder, NC State has not beaten Connecticut since 1998. Coming up next on ESPN, Indiana and Stanford.
None of these players were alive.
Yeah, right. Do the math, right? Here's Beckers. Off to Edwards, races in and lays it home. 30.6 to go. Rivers is fouled again with 30 seconds remaining and an 8-point game.
Late in the game like this, when you're going to foul, you might as well try for the ball first.
Yeah.
Not just like, you know, poke at the gut. Try for the ball. See
right.
if you can get a flick. See if you can get a jump ball even.
First 30, 10, and 5 game in the Wes Moore era for NC State, courtesy of Sanaya Rivers. "32 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. She also has 3 blocks. Makes them both there. Huge free throws. Connecticut needs 3s, not 2s here. Beckers off to Samuels. Her 3 is good. It's a 7-point game with 20.6 to go. Into James. James evades, floats. Time running, and now Hayes is fouled with 16 seconds remaining as Nika Mule gives her 5th and will foul out. 4 points, 6 assists for Nika Mule. Madison Hayes at the line, hits the first. NC State staying completely in the backcourt here. And again. NC State 20 of 26 from the stripe. It is all cosmetic at this point. Fudge short. Rebound James. She's fouled by Edwards. Let the celebration begin. Westmore with the right stroke as well. Had Zoe Brooks on the floor in the third, had James all fourth. Both provided good production in this second half. James hits both. And for the first time since 1998, NC State has defeated UConn. 92-81, the final in this Sunday afternoon upset.
Incredible toughness showed by this NC State team from the jump. They came out and played with confidence. This is a group that lost their top 4 scorers from a season ago. Came out here, competed hard, looked together the whole time on both the offensive and defensive ends. What an incredible performance by a team that today is unranked, tomorrow won't be.
How about the consistency from Sanaya Rivers from start at 15 in the first half, 18 in the second half. And Sanaya is with Holly Rowe.
Sanaya, you've done something that no other player has done under the Westmore era. 32 points, 10 rebounds. Yes, she doesn't even know she had 32. What did it take from you today and the rest of your team?
Support from my teammates, man. They believed in me. I wanted this to be my breakout game, and I did it. The fans, they're here for me. I just couldn't do it without them, my teammates.
Okay, I was wrong. You had 33 points. I don't want to short you anything.
It's all good. Thank you.
You guys came together at the end of this game, and you said something to your teammates. What was it you guys were saying about this big win in this moment?
We did it. It was an upset. You know, everybody said we couldn't do it. I mean, we had nothing to lose, Holly. We just gave it our best, left it all in the court, and we just made history. We did it. We did it.
You weren't even born the last time this happened. No, all of these new faces, newcomers, how did you guys come together in this big moment?
We told the freshmen they're upperclassmen today. We told them to go to sleep as freshmen, wake up upperclassmen. They came through, they finished strong, and we did it.
Go celebrate that win.
The pure joy from NC State. The poise of Sanaya Rivers to answer questions while that was going on behind her. And what a win for the Wolfpack. 92-81 the final over number 2 Connecticut. For our producer, Kerry Callahan, our director, Mike Griffin, Holly Rowe, Rebecca Lobo, I'm Ryan Rucco. So long from Raleigh.
We promised it would be a big day in women's basketball. Maybe we didn't see this one coming. Number 2, UConn facing NC State. Second quarter, Paige Beckers was doing Paige Beckers things.
And this was a good sign for Paige Beckers. Initiating contact, playing through contact. Shows me that she's feeling good, feeling healthy.
Finished with 27 points, but it was Sanaya Rivers' time. NC State getting up and getting open.
So many players played with incredible confidence for NC State. I was really impressed with their offensive speed and their defensive execution as well.
AZ Fudd turns it over, then Rivers dishes it to James for the lay, and Isaiah James, 18 points. Not long after that, Rivers to James. Again, just time and time again, she was open.
And they did such a great job at getting downhill, getting down the floor. Again, using that speed. They shot the ball with confidence. Was really impressed. They were unranked. They should be ranked after this.
Sanaya Rivers with 33 points, a career high. They had 28 fast break points, and then she caught up with Holly Rowe post-game after the huge win.
You guys came together at the end of this game, and you said something to your teammates. What was it you guys were saying about this big win in this moment?
We did it. It was an upset. You know, everybody said we couldn't do it. I mean, we had nothing to lose, Holly. We just gave it our best, left it all in the court, and we just made history. We did it. We did it.
Made some history, they did. First time that NC State's beat UConn since 1998. First time that UConn since 2013 has lost one of their first 2 games of the season. When you talk about what you saw from Sanaya Rivers, just incredible. What do you think about when you see this game and why they got upset?
Well, I think one of the most special things about Sanaya Rivers is that she was at South Carolina. She left South Carolina, and in the age of the transfer portal, I think a lot of players make quick decisions and they go somewhere. where they're either the same player that they were on the team that they left, or they make a poor decision and their role actually shrinks. She made the right decision for her, and now she is flourishing. And her speed, her athleticism, now coupled with the added skill set of that mid-range jump shot as well, was such a big difference maker. She can get up and down the floor. She shot the ball with incredible confidence, and it's the speed and the downhill ability that Connecticut did not have an answer for. She is now the engine that makes this team go. It was so fun to watch. And on the opposite side with Connecticut, I'm looking at them, and they really didn't play very poorly. I know Gino Auriemma wants more movement on the offensive end. You put up 81 points and you're a Connecticut team, you always expect to win that game. Defensively is where there were breakdowns and where they're going to have to put the pieces together moving forward.
Okay, very quickly, Sanaya Rivers, over the last 25 seasons, players against UConn that have had 30 points and 10 boards. Anissa Morrow, Jackie Young, Angel McCautry, Candace Parker, and now Sanaya Rivers.
That's a
She
list.
wanted to have a breakout game.
That's a list.
And boy, did she have it, especially when it relates to UConn, who are always in this position, right? You look at the last 3 seasons, they are 48-6 against unranked opponents. The 20 seasons prior, 493-4. I don't know about you, Drea, but that tells me the parity of the game is the best that it's ever been. This is a good thing.
Yeah, this is a great thing, and you have to give Connecticut credit. I've talked about this before. People used to always say, oh, Connecticut dominating, it's bad for the game. It's so bad for the game. Connecticut dominating for the stretch that they did is not bad for the game because everyone else had to elevate their play to compete with Connecticut. And now we're seeing all of that, and the competition is nationwide. It's so much fun to watch.